the women's monobob. We are heading into the second and deciding heat. Martin Haven, and delighted to be joined by Canadian sliding ace Chris Spring alongside. And Chris, entertaining first heat from these women's monobobs.
Yeah, and we saw that, start times definitely help here on this track, like most tracks in the world. And Cynthia had a blazing start, 5:40, just shy of her start record. She had a great run down the track, and she's definitely in the hunt for that medal, for that top spot on the podium.
Well, she's 4,500ths off gold, but the top two are basically a dead heat, 100th apart.
Yeah, and Bianca had a great first heat, and she had that success from going off first and putting down some very clean lines. A little bit behind at the start there, but she made up for it down the track, put down some amazing lines, and the coaches are going to be very happy with that.
Second fastest starter in the field is our Olympic bobsleigh champion, Lara Nolte. She can drive these sleds as well and look to be building a big lead, but...
Yeah, she did have some trouble here in the exit of 7, very high on the exit, getting into a skid with a couple taps there, but put it together and definitely benefited from that start time and with some good lines at the top of the track as well.
Well, this is still such a relatively new discipline. The athletes have only really been driving these sleds for a season and a half, so they and their technical crews are still learning how to get the best out of them. And as conditions change and as the track changes, Chris, you need to know in advance what the sled needs, both from you as a driver and also in terms of runners and setup and everything else. And that's still a grey area for the monobobs.
Yeah, and when it comes to weather, there's going to be lots of changes as well. As we saw this morning, pouring rain for that first heat, slowly turning into a bit of sunshine, a little bit of cloud now, and hopefully for the second heat, the conditions stay the same throughout the whole competition here. But that's something that the athletes and the coaches, the technical staff, they're all battling with, right? What is the best setup for these weather conditions that are so unpredictable?
And some of that is actually related to where the driver sits in the sled, because without the weight of a brakeman over the rear axle, these things can be kind of skittish. And so, yeah, positioning yourself in the sled, it's not just about your comfort, it's also partly about the feel of the sled on the ice. Well, we have 9 sleds in the field. It is a fairly sparse post-Olympic season, at least at the start. We expect to see a few more joining in later in this North American swing, and certainly once we get into Europe, when the European teams will join us. Compton, Riley Compton will be first off, as she was in 9th place. As we go down, the leader will be the last to leave the changing room.
Yeah, and Riley had a few mistakes on the way down on her first run, so she's definitely looking to clean that up on this second run here. Walk away with this race with some confidence leading into the women's race tomorrow, in the 2 women race tomorrow.
Yeah, relatively new. She's an electronics engineer for the US Marines. So we started in sliding a couple of years ago.
And we noticed that the Americans, they do this kind of shopping cart style push at the start, where they don't start. Oh, look at that difficult time out of the grooves there, hitting before corner 1, but manages to keep it straight. That is going to wipe off a lot of her start velocity, though, only with 61 kilometers an hour. But you know what? To her credit, she's put that behind her, and she's already concentrating on a good run, and these are great lines down the track already.
Well, this is such a fast track. You absolutely have to focus on what's ahead, not what happened behind you.
Yeah, exactly, and she's doing a good job with that. Even with that flop off of 7, she's putting down a much better run than her first heat, and she's going to look to hopefully move up the leaderboard here.
106 kilometers an hour, 66 miles an hour, accelerating. Oh.
Yeah, that tap before 13 is always going to give you difficulty on the exit there, but she handled it well. She's going to cross the finish line here. The downtime, 56.54, and that's over, or just under a second quicker than her first heat. So she's going to be definitely happy with that.
Definitely, definitely. And one of the reasons that such a new athlete is part of Team USA is that Alana Myers-Taylor is not competing this season. She and husband Nick, I said, in the first heat, expecting the arrival of their second child. In fact, baby Noah was born 2 days ago, so shares a birthday with Lara Nolte and Kimberly Boss. Congratulations to the 2 of them and their family of 4 now.
See, she has a bit of time getting into the sled there, struggles to get in, maybe gets her foot hooked up on the steering mechanism, and wants to make sure she's in there nice and settled, and you see the sled drifting across there, hitting before corner 1, and then also her with some trouble on the exit of Holke's 50-50, but gets it off the...
Thank you, everybody,
gets it off the corner well.
I'm going to keep getting better. Thanks.
And she's definitely happy with that result, and she's going to take that confidence into tomorrow's race.
She's bringing the love and she's bringing the big smile, so yeah. And actually with these sleds, 50-50 is much more like it was when we came here in 2009, really, you know, kind of sketchy. Next up, Lisa Buckvitz for Germany. Second fastest start, 5:43. She was a Olympic gold medal winning brakewoman in 2018. She was also an Olympic brakewoman in February this year, but she's been learning to drive for the last couple of seasons as well. And now takes her place in the team.
Oh, 5:37, just 100th off, equaling the start record from Cynthia Appiah. And look at these lines at the top of the track. She's going to be carrying that velocity all the way through and just building on this lead that she's already created.
Well, now, because it's easy, relatively easy to make mistakes. There we go.
Oh, and it's back up on its runner, so she's going to have the opportunity here to drive the sled to the finish line. Obviously disappointed with what's happened.
But still in the green. Now, it barrel rolled, and now she's losing ground. Obviously, it's scraped off speed.
Yeah, and at this point in the track now, she's obviously disappointed with what's just happened, but she has to get her head together and make sure that she still puts down a run safely to the finish line, and she's done so.
Well, that is, again, that is the thing of it, is you have to be focused on the track and not just cursing what happened, because you are motoring. You know, you're doing 88, 89 miles an hour down at the bottom, whether you are paying attention or not.
Yeah, tough go there for Lisa, and I know that she's going to be really disappointed with that, but a lot of good things to come out of this run. She definitely drove the top half of that section well and pushed amazingly, as we'd expect.
Well, and as ever, she's racing. She's pushing hard.
See, she's low in the middle of 6 there, and that pressure just picks her up on the exit. She comes into 7 here, and with the way that the curve is designed here in 7, being this flat, open corner, it's going to pick her up a little bit here in the exit and put her back on her runners.
Well, that certainly makes the crashing and banging stop in a hurry, so that's the good news. And look at the way she was laid right back down in the sled to keep her head away from contact with the ice, but immediately she felt that it was the right way up. Okay, now I've got to get on with it. There's Coach René Spies. Well, he can relate to that. I don't think he's crashed here, but...
So there's going to be a little bit of a track hold now, just to make sure that the ice isn't damaged for the following competitors, and making sure that there's no debris left in the track as well.
Yep. Well, track crew, as everywhere, really proud of the preparation of their ice. You've been doing a bit of that this winter as well.
Yeah, it's definitely hard work,
yeah.
Martin. I never really realized exactly how much hard work. It's a labor of love.
It is, and you know, particularly given the speed of this track, it's important that the ice is in absolutely superb condition, and they always keep it like that. And you know, it's the fastest track on the planet. It was when it was open in 2009, and it remains so. And that means you need your wits about you at all times.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see here on the POV once again that how steep it is here right at the start. And it continues to be steep as you get in the sled through corner 1. The grade in corner 2 above 15% here just drops away. It's like you jump in an elevator and you just fall like you're going down to the bottom floor. It does flatten out here a little bit through 3 and 4, which is definitely a spot that is important in the track for speed, to carry that speed from the top of the track. And that's the exit of 6 there, where unfortunately we just saw Lisa turn over, and in 7 here she pops back up and has to drive the rest of the track here through 9, 10. And like I was saying, has to get her wits about her, because now she's coming down here to this difficult labyrinth section of the course, where it's very easy to make some mistakes and end up crashing once again. So she's got to put herself back, put that mindset back in control of the sled, make sure we get to the bottom here, and hopefully have a successful run.
Yeah. Well, there is your race leader, Riley Compton. So all sorts of firsts here. First ever World Cup start. First with a TV camera in her face. First time in a leader's box. So her teammate Nicole Vogt waiting there, not in the main changing room, but in the little officials' hut right beside the start line, waiting for the track hold. Coaches and everybody else wandering around. Stopped raining at least, so we see them outside.
Yeah, and for Nicole right now, she's just got to keep her wits about her. She knows that she's going to be up here in a couple of minutes. She'll be going through these preparations, making sure that there's no changes to that preparation, just delaying it a little bit. So perhaps she goes through a mind run a couple minutes beforehand, then starts walking out. Here starts declothing down to her race suit and making sure that the same process is carried out regardless of what's happened just before her.
Yeah, it's I mean, as in all sports, you're thinking your way through it, aren't you? All the way to the moment you step up to the line. You're running through that preparation and mentally rehearsing what you are going to do.
Yeah, and it's difficult after a crash because those thoughts of crashing, they slowly creep in. And we like to say in bobsleigh that crashes are contagious a little bit. Yeah. You know, one person crashes and then you start thinking, oh, geez, now I make sure that, you know, I had this little bit of problem in training in this area of the track and make sure to be on it there. And, you know, next thing you know, you're taking your mind away from what you're trying to achieve here, which is a great run, and you start thinking about the difficulty of the track. And so hopefully, you know, Nicole here has kept her preparations the same. And we see Dennis there cleaning off some spikes here, making sure that there's no ice or no debris in those spikes so she can get the best start possible.
And of course, MonoBob is exactly what it says on the tin. Just one athlete, so you are the push start and the driver. No assistance at all. And again, one of the things about learning these sleds is how the athlete gets in. You're not pushing on a driver's handle at the side as you would do in a 2-seat or a 4-seat sled. You're pushing from the back handles as the brake woman or brake man normally would do. But then you've got to get into, well, the only seat, the front seat. So either you step in and step over the little tiny seat back, or you vault in. There's different people have different ways of doing it.
Yeah, and I don't think that it's easy either way.
No.
You know, having driven these things a few weeks ago and struggling, not just in the track, but just getting into the sled at the top of the track as well.
It's yet another different discipline for these athletes to learn. And again, just gets a little hooked up getting in, but she's in cleanly.
It's a great start there, 5.79. Improving on her first start time of 5.84, so she's going to be already excited with that heading into this first few corners of the track.
And so much of this is confidence, isn't it? Not just in the drive, but, you know, get that first competitive run of the season out of the way. Okay, right, breathe, now we've got it, let's go again.
Yeah, she's putting down a great run here. A little bit high through 7. She's going to have a bit of a flop off there, but controls it very nicely. And this is a great run here for Nicole.
Slightly slower than her teammate Riley Compton. Second best speed for Nicole Fogt, but she has got a big time advantage on her hands.
Oh, and just holds it off there, the exit of 13. She had this, what we like to call the kiss of death, just before the entrance of 13, where you just ever so slightly tap the wall, and it doesn't push you away enough to come back, to give you enough time to come back into 13.
Well, that's what the German drivers were talking about in training earlier in the last week. They said because the entry to 12 is different from how they remember it, and because the speeds here are like 20 kilometers an hour quicker than the European tracks that they've been doing pre-season training on, suddenly bang, there's no time to think at all. You've got to be absolutely on the money.
And I think Nicole will be very happy with this result here today, and she has a great opportunity to move up here as well.
Trying to hold it off a little bit there. You watch the runners, and when they're really steering hard, you can see quite clearly. Drops down, and a whip into 9.
You see here coming into 13, she taps on the left wall just beforehand, and then she's high at the exit here. See, she's climbing when we should be descending out of the corner. And look at that front axle. It's full lockout on that steer, trying to get it off the curve there.
What the Brits call Robin Hooding it off, where your hands are as far apart as they can be. So Nicole Fogt takes the lead from Riley Compton. Lisa Buckvitz did complete that run, so she remains in the hunt, or in the field, in 3rd place. Next up is Kim Kalicki. Kim, 25 years old, and 3 World Cup bobsled race wins under her belt. She has never raced on this track before, so this is week 2 of her career in Whistler.
And again, improving on her start here. And that could have something to do with the conditions, too, at the top of the track here. Maybe the start ramp's a little bit quicker than the first heat.
We definitely saw yesterday morning that the skeleton athletes were getting quicker in the second runs. Conditions were very different there, though.
No troubles there on the exit of 6 where her teammate had some problems here through 7. Taking that flop off the exit, but just hugging that left hand short wall, guiding her nicely here into this 9-10 transition.
Best speed of all, 67 miles an hour, building fast.
And a beautiful 12-13 transition. You see there she has no problems on the exit.
Nice looking run from Kim Kalicki. Really have got their head around these sleds a lot more than last year. 55.57. Her first heat was a 56.11, so again, half a second quicker.
Yeah, what a great run for Kim. She's definitely going to be happy with that. Come on, Kim, you can put a smile on your face there.
Well, the retirement of 2018 Olympic champion Mariami Amanka means that Kim Kalicki, Laura Nolte are now the de facto, I guess, joint number ones in the German program.
Yeah, the skid out of 1 here, it's going to take away from that velocity that she built on that great start time, but she definitely handled the track a lot better than her first run here, and like I said, taking a lot of confidence out of this race for the women's women bobsleigh tomorrow.
And every run is a learning run, you know, it educates you. So the first heat teaches you what the track is like today, and then you can go out and build on that and try and improve.
Yeah, she's going to be looking to move up here too. She was 71 hundredths out of the lead out of the first run, but only the 26 hundredths from the bronze medal position. And so she's definitely looking to move up here on the second run.
And only 800 separated her from Switzerland's Melanie Hassler. So, again, a very tight battle. 700ths of a second is the blink of a human eye. That's how close they are at the finish line.
Melanie wants to capitalize on her athletic ability here, getting off to a great start. Try and help her down the track. Wow, 5.47. Wow. That is a huge improvement from her first heat of 5.56.
Yeah, she looked a little bit cautious in the first start, maybe. Now she's got the confidence. 1600s up, building her advantage over our current leader, Kim Kalicki of Germany.
Yeah, these are great lines at the top of the track, and it's so difficult to keep these monobobs straight and parallel when there isn't that much speed in the sled. It's funny to say that here on this track, which is the fastest in the world, but when the sled is doing under 100 kilometers an hour, it is definitely difficult to hold on to that sled. Makes it through here, the 50-50 curve very well. Down to the bottom. Let's look for this top speed here. It's going to be very similar to Kim's.
4/10 up. She was 800s in front, and at the line, she remains 4/10 of a second up. So Kim Kalicki waves goodbye from the leader's box. And again, a half-second improvement, 5400s better.
Yeah, and a lot of that comes from the start time as well. 900ths quicker at the start. It's going to give her better velocity into those top few curves. And, you know, she's benefiting from being here for the last couple of weeks as well. Extra training runs, making sure she gets a good feel for the track.
Always has a huge smile on her face, Melanie Hassler. Vaults over the tiny seat back.
Here we look at the entrance of 12 and into 13. A little bit early on, but doesn't give her any troubles here at the exit, as we see her coming off the exit of the curve here, exit of 13. A little bit of this left to right crossover coming into 14. Yeah, she's happy with that one.
She should be. So she leads with 4 sleds still to go. Will she take a medal to open the season? Well, in her way is our Olympic champion in women's monobob, our world champion in women's monobob, and a 2-time women's bobsleigh Olympic champion as well. Kaylee Humphries. Well, I don't suppose there are many athletes who know the track better than Kaylee. She's been sliding here since it was opened, so the lack of knowledge is not going to be an issue. The lack of performance is never an issue either.
Yeah, and a little bit uncharacteristic mistake there on her first run through 6-7, so she'll be looking to clean that up, and especially here at the start as well. It looks like everyone's been getting quicker, and so has Kaylee as well. Yeah,
5:48, couple of hundreds quicker, and again, loaded so quietly and gently, it looked like she was actually only jogging off as opposed to hauling this sled away from the line.
And we see how stable that sled is at the top of the track. It's almost like she is driving a two-woman sled, and that's a credit to, you know, the years and years of experience that she has. And this already is looking like a much better run here. And see how she's a lot lower there in the exit of 7, unlike her first run.
Yeah, working a lot better. Again, just adapting the steers and just so much experience that she can react to the track so quickly, and that's part of her big advantage.
Only 800s up though, and she's actually losing time to the bottom here.
Is she going to be in front at the line? She is by a 1/10 of a second, 55.21 run. But there was a tiny margin, only 600s in front of Melanie Hassler in the first heat. She opens it up by just 4 more hundredths of a second to go a 10th clear. However, that is enough to put her into the lead with 3 sleds to go, and she was only 12 hundredths out of the medals.
Yeah, she'll definitely be looking to move up here on this second run. And the girls at the top, they know that they're racing against the Olympic champion. They know that they're racing against the world champion in this discipline. And they know that she's going to be able to put down a solid run here without even seeing the time. They know that they're racing one of the best we've ever seen in the sport.
Bit of a first in the headshot trailer this week with Kaylee Humphries. We've not done a headshot of a dog before, but Duchess behaved herself impeccably. So, so there's that. But you're right. You can always rely on Kaylee Humphries to produce the goods in the clinch. So she leads from Melanie Hassler, Kim Kalicki, 3 to go.
I expect Cynthia to drop her start time here, 5:40 in the first heat, and she holds that start record of 5.36. So let's see what she can put together here at the top of the track.
The voice of Canada's Chris Spring. Martin Haven with him watching the action. Final 3 in this season opener of the Women's MonoBob World Cup. Cynthia Appiah, former brakewoman. She's won races before in the MonoBobs. Let's see if she's in the medals today.
5.39, so a little bit quicker as well on her second push there. And you just see how powerful she is, getting that sled off the line. It literally gets thrown out in front of her. And she has, again, these straight parallel lines, which she's going to need in order to overtake Kaylee at the bottom of the track.
Was 2100s up, the gap's down to 1800s. Little trouble in 2 and 3 has taken some of that start velocity away. Oh, and she's late there as well.
Yeah, and she has a lucky tap on the exit of 7 there to keep the sled straight. Only 1300s up right now on Kaylee, and that lead is slowly coming down to 500s now.
Speed is not there. Melanie Hassler was quicker, so was Kaylee Humphries at this stage. Humphries with the best speed at the bottom. It's going to be single digits. It's going to be very close indeed. Dives under the cow. Oh, and that's why you see athletes tuck their heads, because 100th of a second can make a difference. She came down a 10th slower than Kaylee. She had 1200s from the first heat. Do the math. 200ths of a second. Cynthia Appiah guarantees herself a first ever Women's MonoBob World Cup medal. It was a World Series last year.
So we see here on the exit of 6, a little bit of a skid early on to 7. The sled gets pushed away, then it's high. She has to work hard to get the sled off the corner here. Like I said, gets that lucky tap to keep her straight and parallel here going into 9. She's going to be happy with this result, though. I know 200s at the bottom there. It's going to be close racing, but she can credit that to her start time and that beautiful straight parallel line she had at the top of the track.
Absolutely. So Cynthia Appiah is in the medals right now. So are Kaylee Humphries and Melanie Hassler. But there are 2 sleds yet to come. First of whom is another Canadian. This is Bianca Rieby making her MonoBob World Cup debut. She has started one previous World Cup race as a brakewoman in women's bobsleigh, and that was with Alicia Rissling.
Yeah, and Bianca's been busy these last couple of weeks. She actually flew back to Calgary last week to complete her physical firefighting test, which she passed. So congratulations there to Bianca. And now she's back out here, back to work, trying to win herself her first World Cup medal.
5:57, good solid start. 500's quicker than her first. She knows that every single fraction of a second is going to count. 2/10 up on Cynthia Appiah.
Yeah, and that's a lot to do with the start time. Cynthia is always going to be a little bit quicker there at the start, especially with that powerful start that she has. And Bianca, again, on her first run, she was nice, straight parallel, and that was rewarding her down the track with that second best time of the first heat.
Well, she was growing her lead over Cynthia, and she continues to do so. And again, whoa, like Laura Nolte, I was about to say, it looks like she's driving a two-seater sled.
Yeah, and that little kiss of death there just before 13, but she handles it well.
Yeah, she's going to lead at the line. She does. 2700s. She really, really hung on for that, didn't she?
Yeah, she's going to be excited with this. I know that she will be a little bit disappointed with the run, especially with how good that first run is. But that's bobsleigh, and as a new pilot and as a new World Cup pilot.
You know what's going to take the disappointment away? When they hang a medal around her neck.
Exactly.
That will take out the sting. Sure, she'll still go to bed tonight thinking, oh, I really messed up the X of the 7. I hated 13, but there's the medal.
Yeah, and she's going to be learning for years to come, and what an amazing result for her first ever World Cup race as a pilot.
Absolutely. And the day you have a perfect run in bobsled is the day you wake up and then go and try and replicate it at the track, because it only happens in your dreams.
That's very true. I always said that the perfect run was unattainable in a sled, because the more you know, the more you understand how much difficult it is to obtain that perfect run.
See, she believed there. She didn't haul it off. She believed that she had the right line, and 9 times out of 10, you're right. The one time you believe and you've just misjudged it, it gets noisy in a hurry. So Bianca Rieby leaves. It is Canada 1-2 with Kalicki Humphries in third, and our Olympic bobsleigh champion Laura Nolte last to go. Can she take the first gold of the new season? She was 100th of a second in front after the first heat.
Yeah, and she increases that advantage now, 1600ths of a second, improves on her start time just by 100th of a second here. But these lines at the top of the track, I talk about them all race because it is so rewarding for these pilots to put down these straight parallel lines to increase that start advantage that you have.
Again, it is looking like a two-seat sled. It's just, the back is following the front, which is not a given in these MonoBobs.
A similar problem that she had in her first run on the exit there of 7, but she just keeps increasing this lead.
Now this is going to be the key. If she gets nudged away in 12 to 13, then she might lose more time.
Oh,
and she does! Wow. Well, she's not the first to go over, and she's not the first German Olympic champion to crash there either. But Laura Nolte comes across the line, 7th place. Bianca Rieby is the race winner. Laura Nolte, the hooks there to stop the sled rolling back down the hill. And the medical crew are down there as well at the finish line. So she'll be in good hands.
Yeah, and you see that she's getting out of the sled, and the medics there are very quick to respond here at this track, and it looks like she's all okay. She's pulling herself out of the sled. And these are always difficult pictures to see, but when we see the athletes get up, and we see them getting help there by the medical crew, we know that they're walking away okay, and Laura's going to be thinking about this one later tonight, but you know, she is a champion, and we know that she's going to come back tomorrow hungry for more medals.
50-50.
Yeah, and we see there she does tap before the entrance of 13, making her sled get pushed away. She's climbing at the exit. She's doing all she can here to steer that sled off the corner, and it almost corrects itself.
See her head, she's like nudging up, trying to get the sled to the upper side of the sled to come back down, and it didn't quite have enough.
Yeah, and the tricky part about 13, and people talk about this corner a lot in this track, but the corners that are the most important are 11 and 12, which set yourself up for 13. You know, the crash happens in 13, but it's a direct result of what's going on in 12. And, you know, we see Bianca, she's confused about, you know, how can she be successful here with after that, and she knows that.
And everybody knows what it feels like to crash.
Oh yeah,
everybody,
we've all been there.
And so everybody's got that sympathy, and you don't want to win it like that. But you know, again, it is you against the mountain, and that's one of the great things. That's why everybody's got such empathy in this sport, because there's nothing that your competitor can do that knocks you off track or blocks you or slows you down. It is you against the mountain and the stopwatch, and so you know they're all in the same boat. And wow. Canada 1-2. Bianca Rieby, Cynthia Appiah and Kalicki Humphries are the medalists. ahead of Melanie Hasner, Kim Kalicki and Nicole Fogt. Laura Nolte, well, she got rattled around a little bit in the sled, but ended up in 7th, ahead of Riley Compton and Lisa Buckvitz. And again, Laura Nolte, Lisa Buckvitz with those problems. You know, two athletes who got really limited experience on this track, and that has shown itself when they are pushing right to the limit in the race.
Yeah, and we'll see again tomorrow when the girls come back for the 2 women's sled.
Yep.
You know, that they do feel a lot more comfortable in that sled, and they are going to have that success. And they are champions here. And just like Bianca today is the champion here today, and she's going to be really excited with this result. And you know, congratulations to Bianca. She's put in so much work, and these lines that were set up from that very first heat where she put down a great first heat. She's going to walk away with this with a lot of confidence leading into tomorrow's race as well.
When yesterday's women's skeleton race, we were just a few hundreds away from a debutante gold medalist. Bianca Rieby, she has competed in the World Cup before, but not when she was allowed to see where she was going. Only once as a brakewoman. So as a driver, it's her first ever World Cup start. It doesn't get better than that. Bianca Rieby is our race winner. My thanks to Chris Spring for joining us and talking us through the action. I'm Martin Haven with the IBSF TV crew. We will return this afternoon for the 2-man competition and see our Olympic champion back in action. 14:30, 17:30 Eastern, 22:30 GMT. Until then, from all of us here in Whistler, goodbye for now.